Okay, real talk. Peacemaker Season 1 was way better than anybody expected. What started as a story about a guy fresh out of the hospital bragging about killing for peace turned into something weirdly hilarious and surprisingly heartfelt. And yes, a bald eagle hug somehow made us all feel things we weren't ready for, and now it's back for Season 2. And this time, it's part of James Gunn's brand new DC universe. If you're a little lost on how that works, you're not alone, and that's why we're here. It's probably been a while since you watched it, and we get it. Between alien invasions, betrayals, and John Cena busting moves in his tighty-whities, it's a lot to keep track of. Whether you binged the whole thing or just saw random clips online, this is your quick, no BS refresher before the new season drops. We'll break down everything you need to remember: the characters, the chaos, the ridiculous helmets, and how this show still exists in the middle of DC's big universe reboot. So grab a snack, hit mute on the group chat, and let's get into it.
Sorry, Goff.
Previously on Peacemaker. After the absolute bloodbath that was Gunn's The Suicide Squad, you would think Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker himself, would be 6 feet under or retired somewhere very far away from anything explosive. Instead, he woke up in a hospital with shattered bones and a pretty smart mouth. All he wants now is to go home, vibe with his pet bald eagle, Eagly, and try to lay low. But he isn't given much time to rest because the government, being the government, decided it was time to drag him back into the murky world of Black Ops nonsense. This time, it was something called Project Butterfly. So what is Project Butterfly? An adorable initiative to protect endangered insects? Nope. Try an alien invasion. Turns out, Earth's being quietly invaded by insect-looking aliens who crawl into people's heads and hijack their bodies. And these butterflies don't infect randos either. Instead, they go for politicians, cops, judges, basically anyone with power and authority. The mission was to stop the butterflies from completely replacing humanity with smiling, gooch-hugging puppets. Clemson Murn, a Dark Ops mercenary, gave it to him straight. Peacemaker has 26 years left on his sentence, but if he joins Project Butterfly, he can keep breathing fresh air. Oh, and the bomb in Peacemaker's head is still active, so it's not like there's much of a choice for him. Peacemaker gets a team that's a mix of skill and dysfunction, to say the least. Amelia Harcourt, the tough-as-nails agent with zero patience for man-children, John Economus, a tech guy with a laptop, some dye in his beard, and surprisingly decent axe skills, Leota Adebayo, Amanda Waller's daughter with a guilty conscience and a heart way too soft for all this, and finally, the squad leader, Clemson Murn, a stone-faced mystery man who surprisingly was actually a butterfly himself, but a good one, or at least the kind of good that involves murdering bad guys to stop even worse guys. That's right, Murn was a rebel butterfly. He had seen his species' plan for Earth and decided that maybe enslaving an entire planet isn't the next move he wants to take in his career. So he switched sides, wore a trench coat, and led a group of humans to stop his own kind. Tragically, he didn't make it to the end because being the only alien fighting other aliens apparently puts a big target on your back. R.I.P. Murn, you were cool once we got past the terrifying alien bit. Meanwhile, Peacemaker has another alien in his life, his own father, Augie Smith, aka White Dragon, who was basically every worst-case scenario of a racist uncle, with a high-tech white supremacist Iron Man suit. He raised Peacemaker to believe that peace could only be achieved through domination, bloodshed, and racial superiority. So yeah, a little bit of therapy would have definitely helped. Instead, Peacemaker had to put a bullet in his dad's head, except his brain decided to keep the guy around anyway in the form of taunting hallucinations. Progress is rarely clean, you see. The rest of the team has Vigilante, Peacemaker's best friend, a gleeful murderer with puppy dog loyalty and a complete lack of social filters. Think Deadpool, but without the fourth wall or the charm, and yet somehow you still root for him. Amelia Harcourt slowly goes from rolling her eyes at everyone to becoming the group's anchor. She got shot, stabbed, and emotionally wrecked, but she still held it together better than most. Adebayo, the team's moral compass, blew the lid off the entire operation in the finale and outed Amanda Waller's shady government tactics on national TV, turning her mother into public enemy number 1. So Adebayo is probably not sending her a Mother's Day card anytime soon. And then there was the cow. No, seriously, the butterflies were feeding off a massive alien cow that produced this nectar-like goo they needed to survive. This thing was ugly, slimy, and about the size of a house. The final mission was to kill the cow, stop the butterflies, and hopefully not get splattered in alien milk. By the time the dust and bloody intestines settled, the butterflies were gone, the cow was dead, and the team was scattered. Harcourt was in recovery, Adebayo became a whistleblower legend, Economos went back to work, and Vigilante probably skipped away into the sunset to find another dumpster fire to leap into. Peacemaker was left with his pet bald eagle, Eagly, hands down the best sidekick in the DCEU, as well as a haunted conscience and the knowledge that peace at any cost might not be a life motto to live by. So yeah, that was Peacemaker Season 1. Aliens, trauma, and a man who finally starts becoming more than the messed up soldier his dad built him to be. The helmets are still dumb, the soundtrack is still killer, therapy bills the size of Gotham City, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, and Eagly still rules. Peacemaker ended the season not with a heroic speech or triumphant exit, but by sitting on his porch with Eagly by his side and the ghost of his dead father in his head. Still haunted, still figuring it out, but maybe inching towards something real. Growth hurts, especially when it comes with alien guts and daddy issues. So, what's going on in Peacemaker Season 2? Now, as Season 2 looms on the horizon like a bald eagle flying at full speed towards emotional devastation, we've got questions, and plenty of them. Where does Peacemaker go from here? Is Harcourt okay? Will Adebayo get political fallout or a podcast deal? Is Vigilante still stabbing criminals for jaywalking? And most importantly, how's Eagly doing? Because if anything happens to that eagle, we're gonna riot. Officially, Warner Bros. And James Gunn are keeping things tighter than Batman's jawline when it comes to Season 2 plot details. But we do have a few juicy clues and enough James Gunn breadcrumbs to start piecing together what kind of chaos Christopher Smith and his emotionally damaged crew are about to wade into next. First things first. Yes, Season 2 is 100% happening. The peace train is back on track, and James Gunn isn't just back in the writer's chair, he's all in. Writing, directing, overseeing every explosive headshot, and every painfully awkward emotional breakthrough. Like the first season, Peacemaker Season 2 will have 8 episodes and officially drop on August 21st, 2025, which puts it right behind James Gunn's Superman movie, which is set to fly into theaters on July 11th, 2025, making Peacemaker the second official live-action project and the third overall in this new-look DC universe. A 3-year gap between seasons feels long, sure, but with all the WB shakeups and Gunn rebooting the whole universe, it's honestly a miracle this thing's happening at all. This also means Peacemaker Season 2 might be quietly laying the foundation for his rebooted DC universe. So, while Season 1 existed in the shadow of the Suicide Squad and the old DCEU, Season 2 is all about exciting new possibilities. The Season 2 trailer is out, and it's out-and-out boisterous multiverse fun. Yep, DC is going full bananas. The plot centers around Rick Flag Sr., played by Frank Grillo, who's hunting Peacemaker, and the grudge makes sense because Peacemaker did kill his son, Rick Flag Jr., in the Suicide Squad movie by stabbing him in the heart. So yeah, don't expect hugs when they meet. Grillo's character is first introduced in Creature Commandos, so the threads from there could lead directly into the chaos of Peacemaker Season 2. And that's not all. The trailer gave us glimpses of returning characters banged up and back in action like John Cena, obviously as the Peacemaker, then it's Danielle Brooks as Adebayo, Freddie Stroma as Vigilante, and Jennifer Holland is expected back as Harcourt, Steve Aggie's Economos, and Robert Patrick as Peacemaker's dad ghost, White Dragon, because trauma, well, it doesn't die. It also teased a bunch of new faces. We're talking Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and hello again Nathan Fillion, as well as Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn, doing what Sean Gunn does best, being unsettling. And of course, Eagly is back. Thank every god. The emotional support bird we all need. There's no confirmation yet, but Amanda Waller will also likely show up once again. This is her mess after all. With a Waller show coming first, it makes sense that she'll drop into Peacemaker Season 2 at some point. Add in some flashes of dimension-hopping madness, and you've got yourself a season that feels bigger, messier, and maybe even sadder than the first. According to Gunn, it's going to be even more character-driven than the first. This means more emotional unpacking, more flashbacks he didn't ask for, and probably Peacemaker crying shirtless in weird places while Whitesnake blares in the background. This season is expected to dig even deeper into the team's trauma, especially the emotional fallout from Season 1. Like, sure, they saved the world from an alien cow parasite, but you don't just brush off killing your dad and blowing up a 40-ton bug. Especially not when your hallucinations of said dad are still haunting you during breakfast. Where does this sit in the DCU? Now, here's where things get messy. Peacemaker Season 1 happened in the old DCEU, the one with Batfleck, Ezra Flash, and Cavill's Superman, and that awkward CGI Justice League cameo at the end. But Peacemaker Season 2 was officially part of the DCU, Gunn's new shared universe. Still, Gunn's not tossing everything out. He's called Peacemaker Season 1 light canon, meaning it counts, mostly. Pretty much everything that happened still happened, except for the cameo from the old Justice League squad. That version of the team doesn't exist in the new timeline yet. According to Gunn, the timeline now runs through Creature Commandos and Superman, and Peacemaker fits into that continuity. So basically, the show brings in old baggage but rebrands it with new tags. Gunn even said on Threads that most of Peacemaker Season 1 still counts, except for the Justice League bits, which they'll deal with in the new season. Interpret that how you want. It sounds like they'll keep the emotional arcs, team dynamics, and alien cows, and sweep the Snyderverse leftovers under the rug. In short, yes, it's canon. Yes, it fits into the DCU, but don't try to map it out with a string board or you're gonna hurt yourself. Trust us, my brain is burning already. So, what should we expect? In short, more of everything. More Peacemaker dealing with unresolved guilt and dad issues, more alien weirdness, more team confusion, more cameos, new characters, and a whole lot more guns, Glocks, and really bad decision-making. And oh yeah, more Eagly. Not that we're complaining. Peacemaker Season 2 looks like it's picking up all the best things from Season 1 and throwing in new characters, deeper DCU connections, and another layer of emotional damage for Christopher Smith to trip over. But for all the potential timeline twists and plot threads, don't you worry, Peacemaker is still going to be Peacemaker, because at its core, this is still a story about a broken guy trying and mostly failing to be better. The ultraviolence is here to stay. The wildly inappropriate jokes aren't going anywhere. Neither are the needle drops from obscure 80s metal bands you'll Google 5 minutes after the credits roll. Gunn has confirmed the show won't be tonally neutered by studio mandates or forced crossovers. Expect the same chaotic energy, say heartfelt confessions sandwiched between decapitations, dick jokes followed by philosophical musings, and dance numbers that somehow make you cry. That's the brand. If Season 1 was Peacemaker learning how to be a person without blindly obeying orders, Season 2 might be him figuring out how to live with what he's done and what's still coming. Whether he deserves redemption or not, Peacemaker's coming back. And this time, the whole damn universe is watching. Let's hope he keeps that helmet on straight, or not. Either way, it's gonna be a ride, because what other show can make you cheer for a guy who once shot a man for peace, then cry over an eagle hug 15 minutes later? Why not reboot Peacemaker? Honestly, that's the million-dollar question. With James Gunn now holding the keys to the entire DCU kingdom and the reset button on pretty much everything, new Superman, fresh Batman, even a new take on the freaking Authority, why keep Peacemaker alive in the rebooted timeline? Well, according to Gunn himself, there are two big reasons. Peacemaker is Max's biggest original series, period. Critical acclaim, a loyal fan base, and enough meme-worthy moments to power Twitter for a week. It's got it all. So Warner Bros. Isn't about to torch one of their best-performing originals just because. And Gunn says he's got a plan to make it work. Whether that plan is clean or confusing remains to be seen, but Gunn seems confident. Also, let's not forget, this guy made us care about a talking tree once upon a time, remember? So if there's anyone who can juggle all the things that make Peacemaker, Peacemaker, it's James Gunn. But this decision is a bit of a timeline gamble. The first season of Peacemaker was a direct sequel to The Suicide Squad, which itself was a soft reboot/sequel to David Ayer's original Suicide Squad, which, sucked. The DC-EU timeline was already tangled, and dragging that into the new DCU sounds complicated. But Gunn seems cool about it, and we have trust in him, because frankly, clean lines aren't really a priority when your show is about a deeply flawed dude trying to make sense of his trauma by murdering people in the name of peace, you get me? And hey, when the show's this good, maybe we're okay with a little timeline weirdness. And don't worry if you're new to the party, Gunn's already said Season 2 will be friendly to fresh viewers. You won't need to binge Season 1 to get what's happening, but should you? Oh, absolutely. If you don't, you're missing out on some of the most emotionally unhinged, blood-splattered, slow-motion dance scene storytelling in recent memory. Also, you won't fully appreciate how meaningful it is when a bald eagle gives a hug, or why a man with a dove-painted helmet cries after killing his father. What comes next? Once Peacemaker Season 2 lands, it's not fading quietly into the DCU night. No sir, it's passing the grenades, so to speak. And the next person catching it is none other than Amanda Waller. Because of course she is, I'm pretty sure that's her job. Peacemaker Season 2 will likely lead directly into Waller, another series in the DCU slate. Crystal Henry, who helped bring Watchmen to prestige TV glory, and Jeremy Carver, the one behind Doom Patrol, are handling this one, which means we're looking at something emotionally sharp, unpredictable, and maybe a little weird. Expect Waller to dive deeper into Argus, Task Force X, and whatever damage Amanda Waller keeps leaving in her wake. And from there, who knows? So, while Waller might focus on bureaucratic espionage and morally gray power grabs, it could also open doors to bigger things. Maybe The Brave and the Bold, the new Batman film that will introduce Damian Wayne. Or a second season of Creature Commandos, Gunn's animated monster soldier madhouse. Or, dare we say it, another Suicide Squad film. The new DCU is built to be connected and messy. And if all roads lead back to a bald eagle and a man in a shiny helmet trying his best, honestly, we're in. Marvelous verdict! Alright, so if you made it this far, you already know all about Peacemaker. You know that this series turned out to be one of the craziest, weirdest, and somehow most heartfelt shows in the old DCEU lineup. You watched Peacemaker go from trigger-happy jerk to slightly less of a jerk with actual emotions. And let's be real, none of us expected to feel anything by the end, but boy oh boy, we did, and how. So that's your recap, folks. You're caught up, you remember who betrayed who nearly died, and who's probably still confused about how any of this works. Well, that's going to be Vigilante, as always. Season 2 of Peacemaker is coming in hot and bringing a whole lot of heart with its middle finger raised high. Peacemaker's back, baby, and we couldn't be more excited.